I'm Iona Stephen, and this is What's in My Bag. I love my golf bag, I love my clubs, and it's taken me quite a long time to find this setup that I am really happy with. So I'm going to talk you through it now, starting with the driver. We'll start with the big dog. Now I've got the GT driver under this head cover. I play it with 10 degrees of loft, and I have it on the setting D1. That just helps me to get that little soft draw that I look for with my drive, but also it doesn't hook. I want to know that when I stand over the ball with my driver, I feel like I can hit it as hard as I want to, and it's not going to hook left. I don't mind if I miss it right once in a while, but I hate seeing the ball miss left. I've got a Tensei 55 stiff flex shaft, and I've got Tour Velvets on the top throughout the bag, but I do put an extra layer of tape, one more layer than standard, because it helps me. I've had some wrist problems in the past, and with that extra layer of tape, it helps my wrist feel a little bit stronger, particularly in the transition and in the strike. So you'll see that through every single club in the bag. Moving down to my woods, I've also got I've got a 3 wood and a 5 wood. The GT2 setting A1, and the shaft is a 65 stiff flex. And this is an animal, this club. It is absolutely phenomenal. Really consistent off the tee. Fantastic when it's on the turf. It's 18 degrees of loft, so it's a slightly higher launching 3 wood. I mean, some people have 3 woods that are as low as maybe 13 degrees. I just really haven't got the speed and the power to get that thing in the air. So I have a little bit more loft, high launching, 18 degrees. 5 wood, it's a GT head, and the shaft is also a stiff flex, a DI6 Tour AD. These are really cool shafts, these ones. I used to have that same shaft in my driver, but I've since progressed. And then I move on to my little hybrid. I've got my Portrush head cover on there. It's also a stiff flex AV Tensei series shaft, and it's a great bit of kit. It's 21 degrees, it's a 4 hybrid. Before I move on to my irons, I just want to say a very important part in my bag are these limited edition on the road hickory sticks. Shout out to everyone who got themselves a pair of these before they sold out. We raised some money for the St Andrews Harbour Trust through selling these, and I absolutely love them. They're made of hickory wood, handmade in St Andrews, and you never know, in the future we might sell a few more, so keep your eye out for that. Into the irons, I start with a 5 iron. My 5 iron's actually a 150. A little bit of extra on the back just helps me get the ball launching higher with that 5 iron. It gives me a little bit more oomph, shall we say, off the face. That's the technical term. But by the time we get to the 6, all the way down to the pitching wedge, it is the T100, and I absolutely love these irons. They do great irons, Titleist. They got great technology depending on which head you choose. But for me, I like the slightly slimmer profile because it helps me get into the back of the ball. And I don't have a particularly steep angle of attack. It's probably normal, like I hit 4 degrees down on the ball, but I just visually love the way it looks when the club's set on the floor. Because the sole of the club is quite sort of petite in profile, it really makes me feel like I can get into the back of the ball and I'm not going to get too much sole bouncing off the ground. So it's a brilliant club, it looks really elegant, and I've recently moved back to a steel shaft actually. You maybe remember that I was struggling to find this graphite shaft that they stopped producing. It no longer exists anymore. But since then I've actually decided to move back to an NS Pro regular steel shaft, and this is one of the lightest steel shafts you can find. It's like where you would go just before you move to a graphite or maybe a composite shaft, and it's still got that stability, but it's nice and light so that I can keep the club in front of my body. As soon as I get a club that's too heavy, I have a tendency to let the club get left behind, and that's dangerous for me. So it's a brilliant shaft, and then the grip, still the Golf Pride with that extra layer of tape underneath. It's worth mentioning that my setup is 1 degree flat with my irons, but then we get to the good stuff. We get down to the wedges, and I have just put these bad boys in. This is the oil can finish SM10 Vokey designed wedge. After my trip to see Bob Vokey himself, changed the lofts on my wedges a little bit to 52 degree, 56 and a 60. And the 60 is the one I'm most excited about because it has what we call the T grind. And as you can see today, we're here at beautiful North Berwick, nice links, tight turf. And the T grind is designed for exactly this kind of turf. And I play a lot of links golf in my life, so that's why I have the T grind. If I was playing more inland courses, softer turf, I probably would look for something with a little bit more bounce, but this sits really nice and tight to the ground, and they really are a thing of beauty. The 56 is the M grind, which is kind of one of the most original grinds with the Vokey wedges. You see it's a really popular grind. It's a great place to start, but a 56 was recommended to go in the bag by Bob Vokey, because he said, you know, a 56 is really just like the holy grail of wedges. That's the wedge that you want in your bag. Previously, I had a 50, a 54 and a 60. So now this loft setup is slightly different to what I've had for many years. So I'm actually still getting used to this. And then the 52, which really has a max shot of about 90 yards for me. Maybe I could squeeze 100 out of it if I needed to, but it's a kind of a smooth 90-yard shot for me, and anything in from there. And it's great around the greens as well if I want to play like something that's a little bit more releasing, like a little chip and run. It's just going to release for me. And it has the F grind. So that's my wedges, and I absolutely love them. And then we get to the pièce de résistance. It's last, but certainly not least, is my putter. The big love of my life, this putter. Famously stolen when my car got stolen, but we found it in a bush. So I've got it back again. Obviously the thieves didn't realise just quite how special this putter is, thank goodness. But this is a Turilium. It was made for me in the tour truck in Japan in 2019, and it's been my gamer ever since. It's a Circle T edition, and I know I'm very lucky to have one of those. And it's got this beautiful face insert, and it just comes off so softly. I've got 15-gram weights in the toe and the heel. Sometimes I change them a little bit. I'll sometimes move to a 10, or I have been known to go to a 20 on slower greens, but it's just a brilliant putter. It's really well balanced. I've got a Scotty Cameron grip with the black and the grey. So all in all, this is really where the magic happens with this putter in my hands. And I've got the, for tour use only, Circle T putter cover as well. When it comes to the ball, I use the Pro V1X Titleist, and this particular ball's even got our logo on the road with Iona on it, so I love it. The reason I use the Pro V1X over the Pro V1 is because Pro V1X is higher spinning, higher launching, and I struggle to, you know, we're always in this modern game, we're looking to try and get the ball as high as we possibly can. The peak trajectory is often what determines how well you can score around a golf course. And if you can come into greens with lots of height, then you've got, you know, an opportunity to try and get as close to tucked pins as you can. So this Pro V1X is higher launching, helps me get the ball as high as I possibly can, and that's why I choose it over the Pro V1. And that is what's in my bag.